my fiance's wedding invite to my cousin. Waits in my Seattle apartment. I'm Elise, back from 6 weeks in Australia, heart pounding as Aunt Vivian smirks. What I found next broke everything. Where are you watching, and what time is it? Share below. My carry-on slips from my shoulder, thudding against hardwood. The crisp white envelope in her manicured fingers bears a gold border I recognize from the wedding planning websites I'd bookmarked weeks ago. Sometimes life writes better love stories than we do, dear. The envelope trembles in my hands. Inside, delicate black script dances across thick cardstock. Mira and Silas joyfully invite you. The room spins, my cousin's name next to my fiance's, the date set for 2 months from now. My phone's already in my hand, muscle memory pulling up Silas's contact. The call fails. I try again. A computerized voice informs me the number has blocked incoming call. He and Mira realized they were meant to be while you were gone. Vivian perches on my couch, the navy blue one Silas and I picked out last summer. These things happen for a reason. Our engagement photos mock me from every wall, Silas and me at Olympic National Park, his arms around my waist, my head thrown back, laughing, us building a sandcastle at Cannon Beach. The ring, my great aunt's emerald reset in white gold, still sits on my nightstand where I left it before my flight. I'd been paranoid about losing it during training. The marketing certification program was important for your career. Vivian's voice drips honey-coated venom. But Silas needed someone present, someone supportive. 6 years together flashed through my mind. The nervous coffee date where he spilled his chai all over his jeans. Moving in together after 3 years. His vintage chair crammed next to my Target furniture. His proposal last fall. Simple and perfect in our favorite brunch cafe. When I told him about the marketing certification opportunity in Sydney, he'd seemed supportive. 6 weeks will fly by, he'd said, helping me research apartments near the training center. We'd already booked the coastal venue for December, 250 guests. The savings account we'd built together held $15,000, 0 cents. My freelance writing bonuses making up most of it. Our last video call 10 days ago replays in my head. His distracted answers, the way he'd rush to end the conversation. You're so busy with your classes. Vivian examines her gel manicure. Silas felt abandoned. Mira understood. She works part-time at the florist shop, keeps reasonable hours. She was there for him when he needed someone. The pieces clicked together like a jigsaw puzzle from hell. The family picnic Vivian hosted in June, how Silas's calls grew shorter, his texts more sporadic, the vague Instagram posts about unexpected blessings and fate's perfect timing. My laptop sits open on the kitchen counter. 3 clicks to my banking app reveal what I already suspect. Silas quit his graphic design job 3 months ago, never mentioned a word. Mira won't abandon him for a career like you did. Vivian stands, smoothing her cotton skirt. She knows what matters in life. The lock clicks behind her with quiet finality. I sink to the floor, surrounded by the life I thought I was coming home to. The future Mrs. and Mr. sign on the fridge, the wedding planning binder bulging with vendor contracts, our vacation photo wall laughing at my stupidity. My hands shake as I pull the frames down one by one. Each happy moment becomes a lie in reverse. The sandcastle photo cracks as it hits the trash bag. Evening light creeps through the windows as I seal the last box of memories. My eyes burn from crying, but my spine straightens with each item packed away. They can have each other. I won't fight for someone who couldn't even face me with the truth. I won't fight for any of it at all. The phone rings at 2:00 a.m. Mom's number flashes on my screen and my stomach drops. She never calls this late unless something's wrong. Your father had words with Vivian tonight. Her voice carries decades of exhaustion. There's something you need to know about your aunt. I sink onto my couch, surrounded by half-packed boxes of my former life. What happened? Remember how I met your father? A long pause fills the line. Vivian saw him first at the town festival. She spent months telling everyone they were practically dating. My fingers traced the familiar pattern of my great aunt's quilt. But they weren't, not even close. She waved him at the carousel once. Mom's laugh holds no humor. When he asked me to dance at the autumn fair, Vivian didn't speak to me for weeks. The pieces clicked together like a jigsaw puzzle in reverse, each connection revealing an uglier picture. She's still punishing you through me, isn't she? Vivian married Henry Larson 8 weeks after your father and I got engaged. Everyone knew she did it to prove something. Mom's voice breaks. When Henry left her with a 3-year-old Mira, your father helped her make rent. He's been sending her money every month since then. The room spins. I grab a pen, needing something solid in my hand. Every month for 20 years. $600, 0 cents. Like clockwork. Papers rustle in the background. He finally stopped tonight, said he wouldn't fund the destruction of his daughter's happiness. My throat closes. Dad, quiet and steady, who never raised his voice, who taught me to fix my own bike and manage my budget, who hugged me every time I left the house, even after I turned 30. Vivian showed up at the house an hour ago, Mom's words sharpen, demanding the wedding fund, saying it belonged to Mira now, that you owed them for abandoning Silas. The pen snaps in my grip. Black ink bleeds across my palm like a bruise. I abandoned him? I was gone 6 weeks for a certification he encouraged me to get. While you were earning that certification, Vivian had Mira bringing him dinner 4 nights a week, invited him to family gatherings she made sure we didn't know about. Mom's voice hardens. She planned this, sweetheart. Like she's planned everything since the day your father chose me. The weight of generational wounds crashes through my chest. Every snide comment about my career, every comparison between Mira's traditional choices and my professional ambitions. Every time Vivian called me the busy one at family gatherings, lips curved in a smile that never reached her eyes. Your father told her something tonight I've wanted to say for 35 years. Pride and pain tangle in Mom's voice. He said, "You didn't lose George because of Ellen. You lost him because you saw him as a prize to be won instead of a person to be loved." Tears spilled down my cheeks. Not for Silas or Mira or the life I thought I was building, but for the decades of poison Vivian's bitterness fed into our family tree. For the little girl she'd raised to be a weapon instead of a person. We got a friend. The words tumble out before I can stop them. Nora from the marketing agency. She's got a spare room in Portland. Portland? Mom's breath catches. That's so far. I need far right now. I look around my apartment at the walls still covered in evidence of a future that died while I was chasing my dreams. I already applied for positions there. What about the wedding fund? 75% of that money came from my bonuses. My voice steadies. I'm closing the account tomorrow morning. Vivian will lose her mind. Let her. The words carry no anger, just certainty. I'm done paying the price for a war that started before I was born. A key rattles in my front door. I freeze, heart pounding, until Dad's familiar bulk fills the doorway. His eyes are red, his gray hair rumpled. When he sees me on the couch, phone pressed to my ear, he crosses the room in 3 strides and pulls me into a hug that smells like cedar and safety. "I've got her," he says, loud enough for Mom to hear. "I'll bring home breakfast." "Dad?" I press my face into his denim shirt. "I'm so sorry." "No." His chest rumbles against my ear. "You have nothing to be sorry for. I should have seen what Vivian was doing years ago. Should have cut off that money the first time she tried to compete with your mother through you and Mira. I got a job offer." My voice muffles against his shirt. "In Portland. They want me to start in 3 weeks." His arms tighten. "Then we better start packing." "But what about Vivian and Mira and all the wedding guests?" Dad pulls back, his hands gentle on my shoulders. The lamplight catches gray strands in his mustache, marks of time I somehow missed appearing. Your mother and I will handle the guests. As for Vivian, his jaw tightens. Some people spend so long poisoning the water they forget how to drink anything else. I don't want revenge. The truth of it surprises me. I just want to be free of all of it. Then that's what we'll give you. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a thick envelope. But first, I think you should read this. Bank statements spill across my coffee table. 35 years of canceled checks to Vivian Larson. Notations in my father's careful handwriting. Rent payments, car repairs, Mira's dance lessons, summer programs, job application fees. I kept track of everything. Dad's voice roughens. Thought I was helping her build a life, never saw I was just funding her revenge. The last check, dated 5 days ago, bears a final notation. For services rendered in the destruction of my daughter's happiness, payment stopped. I reach for his hand, feeling the calluses earned from decades of carpentry work. The hands that built my childhood playhouse, taught me to rollerblade, held me through every sprained ankle and broken heart. Thank you, my voice cracks. For choosing Mom, for choosing me. His fingers tighten around mine. Every single day, kiddo, every single day. Outside my window, Seattle's lights glitter like fallen stars. Tomorrow, I'll close the account that was supposed to fund my wedding, pack the life I built here into boxes, write a resignation letter citing personal circumstances. But tonight, I lean against my father's solid warmth and let myself feel the weight of 3 generations of women's choices. Vivian's bitter pride, Mira's calculated betrayal, my mother's quiet strength, my own power, finally unleashed from the cage of family obligation. 2 months later, the Portland rain taps against my apartment windows, a steady rhythm that's become more comforting than melancholy. From my tiny balcony herb garden, the Willamette River stretches gray and endless, white caps dancing under heavy clouds. 2 months ago, this view terrified me with its unfamiliarity. Now it whispers of possibility. My alarm chimes at 7. The morning ritual grounds me. Coffee brewing, toast burning slightly because I still haven't figured out the temperamental settings on my new toaster. A quick check of my reflection shows dark circles fading, replaced by determination in my eyes. The certification from Sydney already hangs framed on my office wall at Thompson Marketing. Proof that running away sometimes means running toward something better. I go to work. The Harper account needs fresh eyes, Elliot announces at the morning meeting, sliding a thick folder across the conference table. Elise, you've got experience with similar strategy challenges. My spine straightens. Yes, my certification program covered several parallel cases. The words come steady now. Professional. No one here knows about Silas, about Mira, about the wedding that should have happened last month. They know me only as the ambitious new hire who stays late and delivers results ahead of schedule. Elliot nods, already moving on to the next agenda item, but I catch Lila from finance giving me an approving glance. Small victories, they add up. Wednesday evening finds me at Taste of the World cooking class, chopping vegetables beside strangers who've become familiar faces. Tonight we're attempting Vietnamese pho, and the scent of star anise and cilantro fills the industrial kitchen. Watch the knife angle, Chef Nora corrects gently, demonstrating the proper technique. My hands remember similar lessons from my great-aunt, decades of Sunday lunches where she taught me to create order from chaos, one precise cut at a time. The cursor blinks on my laptop screen later that night. Dr. Helen's weekly therapy homework waits. Explore the generational patterns in your family's approach to relationships. Words spill onto the page about Aunt Vivian's desperate grip on status, about Mira's learned helplessness, about my own former need to fix everyone's problems while ignoring the warning signs in my own life. A text from Mom breaks my concentration. Mira and Silas's wedding photos all over Facebook. Want me to call? No need, I type back, working on the Harper proposal. It's not entirely a lie. The folder sits open beside me, numbers and strategies, a welcome escape from memories. My phone stays dark. Mom understands now. She's learned when to push and when to let me process alone. The weekly Saturday calls have evolved from tear-filled confessions to actual conversations. Last week, we spent an hour discussing her book club without once mentioning the elephant in the room. The Harper proposal comes together over 4 sleepless nights. Graphs and projections flow from my fingertips, insights sharp and clear. When I present to the client team, Elliot's eyebrows lift at the innovative solutions I've mapped out. Impressive work, he says afterward. The promotion track usually takes 18 months, but we might need to accelerate that timeline. A genuine smile spreads across my face, the first one in months that doesn't feel forced. In the bathroom mirror later, I catch myself humming while washing my hands. The sound startles me into silence, but the moment marks something significant. 12 whole hours without thinking about the betrayal. Amelia from 3C becomes my walking companion on weekends, our feet carrying us through Forest Park's winding trails. She's 62, recently divorced, full of stories about Portland and the ADS. When she talks about rebuilding after loss, her wisdom comes from experience rather than pity. My partner's been gone 2 years, she tells me one foggy morning. Some days I still reach for them in bed, but you learn to build a life in the empty spaces. In my grief support group, faces around the circle nod as I finally share the full story. No one offers advice or empty platitudes. They just listen. And somehow, that's exactly what I need. You're handling this with remarkable grace, Theo says afterward. His partner left him for his colleague last year. He gets it. The promotion letter arrives 9 months early. Senior strategist with a corner office overlooking the river. I send a photo to my parents, and Dad books flights for the following weekend. Mom brings homemade scones and family photos spanning decades before the betrayal. We create new memories in my small kitchen, laughing over Dad's attempts to master sushi rolls at the local Japanese restaurant. Through the family grapevine, news trickles in. Silas still hasn't found design work. Mira's part-time florist job barely covers their rent. They've moved in with Vivian, 3 adults crammed into her small bungalow, taking turns with a single bathroom. They deserve each other, my cousin Talia texts, always ready with family gossip. I leave her message unread. Their struggles don't bring me joy or pain anymore. They're just facts, like Portland rain or morning traffic. At night, I water my growing collection of plants. Basil in the kitchen, ferns in my bedroom, a temperamental orchid by my desk. Green things that thrive or die based on the care they receive. No complex emotions, no hidden agendas, just honest growth, one leaf at a time. My therapy journal fills with insights about patterns broken and boundaries built. Dr. Helen notes my progress, the way I've stopped apologizing for my career ambitions. Success is the best revenge, she says, then catches herself. Though I suspect you're past wanting revenge at all. She's right. The woman who drove away from Seattle with a broken heart and a U-Haul full of shattered plans doesn't exist anymore. In her place stands someone stronger, someone who understands that walking away from toxicity isn't cowardice, it's courage. The rain against my windows has become a lullaby. On clear nights, the Willamette reflects stars and city lights, a reminder that beauty exists even in darkness. I've stopped checking social media, stopped asking about news from home. My story is writing itself in Portland's gray skies and green parks, in quiet triumphs and peaceful mornings. Some nights, memories of Silas still ambush me, his laugh over brunch, the way he used to wrap me in bear hugs after long days. But those moments come less frequently now, ghosts fading in the light of my rebuilt life. 6 years of love turned to betrayal taught me more about myself than a lifetime of easy happiness ever could. I pin my team's first successful project plan to my office wall, right beside that certification from Sydney. Proof that sometimes the path forward requires walking away. The corner office plants thrive in filtered sunlight, green and growing, reaching toward tomorrow. The email flashes on my screen, like a slap. Silas's name in my inbox after 5 months of silence sets my tea mug trembling against the breakfast bar of my Portland apartment. Subject: our wedding fund. Elise, I know this is awkward, but I need to discuss our joint savings. Things are tight right now, and that money was meant for both of us. I never meant for any of this to happen the way it did. Circumstances just took over. Design isn't paying what I expected, and Mira's florist shop cut her hours. We're facing eviction next month. I hate asking, but I need my share of our wedding fund to keep a roof over our heads. It was our money after all. Please help, Silas. The autumn rain drums against my windows as I read his message 3 times. Each word pierces deeper than the last. Our money. My freelance writing bonuses built that account while he quit his graphic design job without a word. Circumstances? As if some mysterious force pushed him into my cousin's arms. 5 days pass before I touch the keyboard. The words flow with surgical precision. The money was for our future. You forfeited that the day you ghosted me and married my cousin. Do not contact me again. My finger hovers over the send button. No anger, no accusations, just truth, clean as a broken bone. Click, block, done. 3 weeks later, Mom's voice crackles through my phone. Vivian showed up at the house with Mira and Silas. They're demanding the wedding money. What? Your father's handling it. I'll call you back. Hours crawl by. The Portland skyline fades from steel gray to purple twilight before my phone buzzes again. You need to hear this, Mom says. Vivian started screaming about what rightfully belongs to the young couple. Mira burst into tears about bill collectors, but Silas just stood there, staring at his shoes while they fought his battle. A bitter laugh escapes me. They expected my savings to support them. That's not even the half of it. Mom's voice hardens. Your father finally snapped. Told Vivian he's done sending her monthly checks. $600, 0 cents, every month since her divorce. 30 years of enabling her, he said. Then he looked her dead in the eyes and said, You used my family's kindness to destroy my daughter. The truth of those words rings in my ears. How many times had Vivian shown up at their door with another crisis? How many checks had they written to keep peace in the family? Vivian collapsed on our couch, Mom continues, started sobbing about how life never gave her a fair chance, how watching me marry your father broke something in her that never healed, how seeing you succeed while Mira struggled felt like history repeating itself. My throat tightens. She punished me for your happiness. I told her she never lost anything she fairly played for. Mom's voice carries decades of quiet understanding. She manipulated every situation, turned every family gathering into a competition. And when that wasn't enough, she used Mira to take what she thought I had stolen. My family group text explodes that evening. Aunt Clara sides with Vivian, Uncle Daniel backs Dad, Cousin Lena calls Mira a homewrecker, Great Aunt Beatrice threatens to cancel Christmas. A new message pops up from an unknown number. Mira. Did Mom really plan this? Did she push me towards Silas on purpose? He's not even designing anymore, just plays video games while I work. Maybe she wanted me to have what you had, but all I got were his broken promises. I closed the message without responding. Let karma finish what it started. The Portland rain keeps falling, washing away another layer of anger I didn't know I still carried. Tomorrow I'll wake up, brew my tea, and lead my tea meeting. I'll smile at the barista and joke with my colleagues and feel a little lighter. The money in my account isn't tainted anymore. It's not a wedding fund or a symbol of betrayal. It's freedom. It's karma doing her slow, steady work while I build a life they can't touch. Maybe Dad's right. Sometimes kindness becomes destruction when we let fear of confrontation guide our choices. Sometimes the hardest answer is the simplest, no more. The eviction notice flutters in the autumn breeze. Its red letters stark against the white paper tacked to Vivian's front door. Through my mother's weekly updates, I learned they lasted 2 months in the Victorian condo before the rent checks started bouncing. Now Mira, Silas, and Vivian share a one-bedroom apartment in Tacoma where sirens serve as nightly lullabies. He stocks shelves at Walmart now, Mom says during our Saturday call, her voice carrying that careful neutrality she reserves for difficult topics. Uh, Morning shifts. Someone saw him in the blue vest last week. I focus on stirring maple syrup into my tea, watching the golden liquid swirl. My Portland apartment fills with morning light, everything bright and clean. What about his design career? Sweetheart. Mom pauses. I don't think there ever was one. The words settle like stones. 6 years of listening to Silas talk about his portfolio, the clients who lived in his head, the art director who'd love his work if he could just finish it. All excuses to avoid looking for real work while I supported us, while I believed in him. Their arguments echo through family gossip channels. Mira screaming about broken promises in the Target parking lot. Silas's bitter accusations at Christmas dinner about being pushed into a fantasy life. Vivian's constant presence in their tiny apartment, driving final wedges between them. Remember when your father proposed to me instead of Vivian? Mom's voice softens with old memories. She married Edward Hayes 3 months later. Never loved him, just wanted to prove she could get a husband, too. A familiar story, but the parallels strike harder now. Edward left after 2 years. Vivian has been chasing security through other people ever since. I watch a ferry cut through the Willamette, sunlight sparking off waves. Did she ever apologize to you? No. Mom's laugh holds no bitterness. Vivian doesn't apologize. She justifies. The truth of this plays out in real time. Vivian starts calling relatives, voice thick with tears, asking for loans. When they refuse, she tries my great aunts. Their response travels through the family grapevine with lightning speed. Not until you apologize to Elise, Great Aunt Beatrice reportedly said, and mean it. My father's monthly support checks to Vivian stopped. He'd sent them ever since her divorce. $600? 0 cents of guilt money paid in silence while she slowly poisoned our family bonds. The isolation hits Vivian hardest. Christmas invitations dry up. New Year card lists shrink. Family members stop accepting her calls. Meanwhile, my own quiet success speaks volumes. Senior strategist at 29, a corner office with a view, respect earned through work rather than manipulation. Your cousin's starting to see it, Mom tells me one Saturday. Mira mentioned going to therapy, says she's recognizing patterns from childhood. I think of Mira's tearful face in old photos, Vivian's hand always gripping her shoulder, the constant pressure to be perfect, to compete, to win at all costs. Good for her. The call that changes everything comes on a rainy Monday. Miles, my partner, brings me tea while I listen to Mira's halting voice, all her sharp edges sanded down by humility. I knew it was wrong, she says. I let Mom convince me I deserved your life more than you did, that if I just played my cards right, I could have everything you worked for. Her breath catches. I'm so sorry, Elise. Not because I need anything from you, just because you deserve to hear it. I watch Miles move around my kitchen, starting dinner prep. His quiet strength, his respect for my boundaries, his understanding of healthy love, everything Silas promised but never was. Thank you for telling me, I say finally. I hope you find peace, Mira. Far away from anyone who makes you doubt yourself. She leaves for California the next month, a clean break, a fresh start. Silas returns to graphic design, his creative dreams deflated, but his feet finally on solid ground. Vivian sits alone in her apartment, writing letters I'll never read. The first arrives at my parents' house in spring the next month. Mom describes the careful handwriting, the gold border like a wedding invitation. She blames circumstances, Mom says, never mentions her own choices. Return to sender, I tell her. Some doors need to stay closed. Miles finds me on the balcony that evening, wrapped in the quilt my great aunt made. He doesn't ask about the letter or offer platitudes about forgiveness, just holds me, while I watch the city lights blur through tears I didn't expect to shed. You don't owe them closure, he whispers into my hair. You don't owe them anything. But I found my own closure in this quiet life I've built, in the family I've chosen, the boundaries I've drawn, the peace I've earned through walking away. Some bridges burn for a reason. Their ashes fertilize new ground where healthier things can grow. Later that night, I delete the last photo of Silas from my phone, not out of anger or pain, but because I finally understand. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do for ourselves is to close a door and walk away. Let karma balance the scales while we build something better. The city stretches below my window, full of lights and possibilities. Somewhere in Tacoma, Vivian sits alone with her justifications. In California, Myra learns who she is without her mother's voice in her head. And here in Portland, I watch the fairy lights dot the river like stars, finally free of the need to make sense of any of it. Some lessons cost everything and are worth every penny. 3 years later, I need 3 more years to keep my peace. The string lights twinkle across our back deck, casting warm shadows over faces I've grown to cherish. Portland's autumn breeze carries the scent of Miles's famous pear cider and Clara's pecan bread through the open French doors. 3 years of building this life, piece by careful piece, and tonight it feels complete. Mom sets down her tea glass, wrapping both arms around my shoulder. This hum suits you, sweetheart. Her eyes drift to the wall where my senior strategist award hangs beside a candid photo of Miles and me hiking Multnomah Falls. No wedding portraits or false promises, just real moments, hard-earned and true. The doorbell chimes. Lila from finance arrives with her partner, carrying a potted fern and exclaiming over the view of the river. These people know nothing of Silas or Mira or family betrayal. They know me as I am now, the woman who leads critical projects, volunteers at the community center, and makes a mean lemon souffle. Dad's phone buzzes during dessert. His expression shifts as he reads the message, and I know before he speaks. News from home travels fast. Mira and Silas's divorce was finalized yesterday, he says quietly. She's moving to San Diego next month, teaching job at a community college. I pass him the teapot, steady-handed. I hope she finds what she's looking for. The words hold no bitterness. How could they when losing everything led me here? When that betrayal pushed me toward a life so much richer than the one I'd planned. Later, after the last guest leaves, I find an email from Mira waiting in my inbox. My finger hovers over delete, but something in the subject line, truth, finally, makes me pause. I owe you an explanation, she writes. Mom orchestrated everything, but I let her. I wanted to believe Silas was my soulmate because it meant Mom's dreams for me would finally come true. We were never right for each other. The marriage was a mistake from day one. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just needed you to know the truth. Miles finds me on the balcony that night, wrapped in the soft throw blanket he bought for my birthday. His arms slide around my waist, and I lean back against his chest, watching lights flicker across the water. Connie, for your thoughts. His voice rumbles against my shoulder. Mira emailed. She's starting over in San Diego. She apologized, sort of. And how do you feel about that? I consider the question, tasting it like tea. Peaceful. Her choices aren't my burden anymore. He nods, understanding without pushing. This man who entered my life when I'd stopped looking for love, who builds shelves in our garage and reads poetry before bed, who proposed with a simple amethyst ring because he knew emeralds carried too many memories. Speaking of choices, he says, I've been thinking about our wedding guest list. My lips quirk. Let me guess. You're wondering if we should invite Mira. The thought crossed my mind. You seem lighter since reading her email. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reunion. I trace the compass tattoo on his forearm. I wish her well, but that chapter's closed. 3 weeks later, the phone rings. Dad again. My heart clenches at his tone. Vivian's in the hospital, he says. Aggressive lung cancer. Your mother thought you should know. The old me would have booked a flight immediately, rushing to a bedside where I wasn't wanted. But I've learned about boundaries. about the difference between compassion and martyrdom. I'll send flowers, I tell him, the good kind from that shop she always bragged about. I hang up. After dinner that same night, Miles and I stand at the railing, watching the moon paint silver paths across the water. Tomorrow, I'll place the flower order, start planning our small wedding surrounded by people who've earned their place in our story, call mom and share more of the wisdom we've both gained about breaking cycles of hurt. But tonight, I savor this moment, the warmth of Miles beside me, the life we're building, the quiet certainty that sometimes losing everything shows you exactly what you need to keep. The breeze carries a whisper of campfire smoke from somewhere down the hill. I close my eyes, breathing in the scent of autumn and possibility. Some lessons cost everything and are worth every penny. Elise's story of rebuilding after betrayal hits home. If someone close broke your trust and upended your life, how would you handle it? Walk away, face them, or start over somewhere new? Share your thoughts below and connect with others finding their way. Follow for more stories of strength and new beginnings.